My name is Charlotte Ice. I am 66 years old. I have been retired for a little less than 2 years. I get about $2,500 each month from Social Security. In my small town in Ohio, that money is enough to live on. I have to be careful with every penny, but it covers my needs just fine. My husband died when he was young. After my son Benjamin got married, I have lived alone in this old house. I keep it warm with my memories. At my age, I thought life should be about family coming together and laughter filling the rooms. Christmas was coming soon. Benjamin called me. He said he wanted me to spend the holidays with him and his family. In that moment, my heart felt warm and happy. It was like someone gave me a hot cup of chocolate on a cold winter day. The warmth went deep into my bones. After the call, I started to pack right away. I took an old suitcase from the closet. I cleaned it until it was shiny. I packed a new sweater I had saved for the holidays. I also packed smoked sausage rolls that Benjamin liked as a boy. I added Amanda's favorite local honey and some homemade jams. I made sure not to forget anything. While packing, my fingers touched an old yellow photo. Benjamin was a teenager in it. He had a big smile with his front teeth showing. Next to him was a younger me. My hair was thick and black. I had a confident smile. My eyes were full of hope for life. Time had passed so fast. I gave my whole life to my family and to Benjamin. When he was little, I worked long shifts at the textile mill. I worked nights and evenings. I came home very tired. I did it to give him a better life. When the mill closed, I sold things at flea markets. I did odd jobs. I did whatever I could. I fought hard so Benjamin could go to college. I wanted him to have a good start. Only when he was married and stable did I feel I could relax. Retirement was simple. It was like plain water. Life felt sweeter only when I saw Benjamin and his family. But I did not know that sweetness had poison in it. I arrived at Benjamin's apartment in Chicago. The elevator opened, and Amanda was waiting. She smiled brightly and came to me. "Charlotte, you made it. It was cold outside. Come in." She took my suitcase. She was cheerful. "Sit down. I will get you hot tea to warm up." Benjamin came from the study. He had a tired smile. "Hey, Mom." He looked worn out with dark circles under his eyes. "Work is busy at year-end," he said. "I have been working all the time." I felt worried. "You have only one body, honey. Do not wear it out." Amanda brought the tea. The smell was nice. The room was warm from the heaters. It was different from my cold house. Amanda put my suitcase in the guest room. She started dinner. The food was good. There was juicy roast beef, buttery salmon, and fresh side dishes. Her cooking was better now. I praised her. She laughed. Her eyes crinkled. "I am glad you like it. You should come more often. I will cook for you every day." But her smiles seemed too perfect. She was too eager. She kept adding food to my plate. She took care of me like it was a show. It felt close, but not quite right. Benjamin ate fast. His eyes kept going to his phone. Something seemed to pull at him. The table seemed happy on top, but under it, something felt wrong. It was like a bone stuck in my throat. I could not swallow it or spit it out. The next morning, Amanda's parents came. Patricia hugged Amanda tightly. They talked a lot. Their laughter was loud. It filled the room. I stood to the side. I felt invisible. For a moment, I felt like I was part of the wall. Robert was quiet. He shook my hand and said a few nice words. Patricia acted like she was important. She had worked in an office at City Hall before retiring. It showed in her ways. She looked at my old wool coat. It was worn but warm. I had it for years. She gave a small twist of her lips. It was not a real smile. To her, I looked out of place. My coat had always made me feel ready. Now it felt old under her eyes. Dinner that night had hidden tension. Benjamin and Robert talked about money news. Amanda and Patricia chatted about gossip, stores, and kids' jobs. I sat quietly. I picked at my food. I felt like an outsider. Patricia's voice was sharp. She took over the talk. Robert and I get nearly $15,000 a month from pensions, she said. She lifted her teacup nicely. She looked at me. Our costs are low. Life is comfortable. We bought a condo in Florida last month. It is perfect for winter. Warm weather, clean air. She turned to Amanda. You two should plan ahead. Houses cost more now. Get a bigger one before babies come. Amanda nodded. We are working on it, Mom. Patricia looked at me again. Her tone was fake worry. Charlotte, how is your health? Amanda said your pension is not high. Can you cover your costs? Her voice was light, but her eyes had judgment. I smiled calmly. Something hurt in my chest. I get $2,500 a month. It is enough. My health is okay. Some aches, but nothing bad. $2,5, Patricia said slowly. She raised her eyebrows. Her voice had pity. I hid behind my teacup. I felt my pride sting. Now I knew some people judge you by your money. Mine was not enough for them. After dinner, Benjamin took Robert to the study for investment talk. Amanda and Patricia sat on the sofa. They watched TV and whispered. I felt tired inside. The hurt was deep. I said I needed rest. I went to the guest room. It was small but clean. A small ivy plant was on the table. Its leaves were green and strong. Inside me, things felt heavy. I sat on the bed. I looked at the gray sky. My mind wandered. I thought of the winter when Benjamin wanted expensive sneakers. I worked night shifts to buy them. I thought of college when I sent him money. I ate cheap food. I thought of his wedding. I used my savings and borrowed to help with their house. I never did big things. I just made life easier for my son. I thought that was enough. Now it felt like nothing. I stayed in the room a long time. Then I got up for air. I opened the door quietly. I heard voices from the living room. It was Amanda and Patricia talking softly. Mom, what will that old woman do with $2,500 a month? She gets by now, but if she gets sick, do I have to care for her? Amanda sounded annoyed. My foot stopped. Exactly. I warned you, Patricia said coolly. Her pension is small. If sick, she is a burden. I held my breath. My hands sweated. What's the point of keeping her around? Amanda whispered bitterly. $2,500 won't cover a nurse, that's why. Patricia said calmly. Get the house now while she is clear. Sign it to you and Benjamin. The house, Amanda said. She sounded greedy. It is old, but in a good spot. We can sell for $300,000 or $400,000. Exactly, Patricia said. Get it. Or if she leaves it to someone else, your fault. And she coughs a lot. She looks pale. Who knows how long she has? Amanda added. Those words cut my heart. My blood felt cold. My body froze. Pain, anger, and betrayal hit me. I thought Amanda respected me. But I was a burden to her. All her smiles and food were fake. I saw the truth. I bit my lip until it bled. Tears came, but I held them. I could not break here. I went back to the room like a soldier leaving a fight. My chest hurt. But I saw clearly. I could not stay. This home was a pretty trap. I opened my suitcase. I packed my things fast. My moves were cold. The new coat, the sausage, the jam. It all seemed like a joke now. I found a pen. I wrote a note with shaking hands. Neighbor Ellen had an emergency. I went to help. Don't worry. The writing was messy. I took a breath. I grabbed my suitcase. I opened the door quietly. In the living room, they laughed softly. I kept my head down. I put on shoes. I left the door. In 30 seconds, I was outside. The wind was cold, but it was not as cold as inside me. I walked into the night. When I got home, it was dark. I did not turn on lights. I went to the sofa in the dark. I fell onto it. My body was heavy. The suitcase stayed by the door. The house was silent. Only car lights came sometimes. They made shadows. I heard my heart beat. Then I cried. Tears came hot. For the first time, I felt alone. The family I built was based on money. To them, I was an old woman with little pension, a future problem to remove. I cried a long time, until no tears left. My heart did not turn cold. I would not give up. For once, I would live for me. I looked at the dark window. Maybe hearing them was a sign. It was time to change my life. Time to take control. I turned on the lamp. The light pushed back the dark. Inside me, a small light came back. The next morning, Benjamin called. Mom, why did you leave suddenly? Amanda said a note about Ellen. I steadied my voice. Yes, Ellen's husband had a heart attack. She called me. It was a lie. It felt heavy. Oh, is it okay now? Yes, he is in hospital. Good. Take care, Mom. Tell us if you need help. I will visit soon. No need, I said firmly. Focus on work. I am fine. After, Amanda called. Charlotte, why leave without saying? We worried. Her voice was sweet, but I heard relief. Emergency at home. It is done. Take care. Tell us if you need anything. I said polite words and hung up. I smiled bitterly. The worst was pretending everything was fine. Maybe that is being adult. Smile through pain. 2 days after Valentine's Day, Benjamin came. He sat stiff on the sofa. He played with his hands. Mom, that day, did you hear anything? My heart jumped, but my face was calm. Hear what? No. He looked at me. I held his gaze. I could not tell him. It would hurt us more. He looked down. Mom, sometimes Amanda says things she does not mean. Do not take to heart. He chose her. I nodded. The room was silent. The clock ticked. He stayed a bit. He checked my health. He reminded me of medicine. Then he left. I watched him go. He looked small in the gray day. I felt sad and disappointed, but mostly acceptance. My son would not understand me. After he left, the house was quiet. I sat on the sofa. The clock ticked. My days were empty. I thought about retirement, shopping, cooking, chess, talk with friends. It was flat. Like old water. That night at Benjamin's woke me up. I could not live like this. I started cleaning the house. I opened closets. I pulled out old things. I threw away junk. I kept meaningful items. In an old chest, I found photo albums. One showed me at the factory smiling. Another was my wedding. My husband in a suit, me in a white dress. Then Benjamin as a baby, chubby and smiling. Between photos, there were certificates. Good worker, technician, and an old photography club card. I blew dust off it. Memories came back. As a young woman, I loved photography. I saved for a used Canon AE1 camera. I took it everywhere. I joined the city association. I learned from others. Some photos were in newsletters. But life got busy. Bills, raising Benjamin. Photography stopped. The camera got dusty. Now remembering, those days were pure. Hard but real, full. I felt excited. Why not start again? I had time and strength. I would not live quietly. I found the camera in the closet. I cleaned it. It was old but good. I decided to take a photography course at community college. I would start right. My enemy was giving up. I was done with that.com. The next day, I wore a clean sweater. I went to the college office. The officer helped me enroll in photography. 101. Seeing it on the form made my heart beat fast. Like my first paycheck. I got my student ID. I walked out into sun. It felt good. At college, it was better than I thought. Classmates were retirees like me. They found old passions. They laughed and talked a lot. Mr. Peterson was the teacher. He was a retired news photographer. He had funny stories. Lessons were fun. I worked hard. I made friends. Marta was an architect. Her building photos were great. Tom was a philosophy professor. He liked street photos. Linda did flower photos. We formed the Golden Lens Club. Weekends, we went on photo walks. My old Canon was slow, but its black and white photos had soul. Later, I bought a DSLR with saved money. I learned editing. My days had purpose. Joy. I wished for more hours. The community had an exhibition, Living Our Best Lives. We sent photos. My sunset on Main Street got second place. It showed a street in golden light. An old man on porch with pipe. He was Walter Ellen's husband. The newspaper wrote about me. Retired worker finds passion in lens. Holding it, I felt proud. Old age has many ways. Change view, change picture. I was not a burden. I was my own hero. Benjamin saw the article. He came with it. Mom, you are amazing. You hid this. His eyes had pride. It is nothing. He looked at me. You seem brighter. More energy. His gaze changed. It was real respect. It warmed me. A few days later, Amanda called. Charlotte, I hear about photography. Awards. Cameras are expensive. She was checking. Worried about my money. I smiled. Not big deal, hobby. I do small investments for cash. I left her wondering. She paused. Wow, amazing. Live your best. Take care. I hung up, smiled. When you do not need approval, others are careful. Human nature. Lean on them. They take for granted. Stand alone. They worry. My hobby grew. I uploaded photos online. People asked to buy rights. For sites, magazines, shops, I opened an online store for prints. It started small, but grew. I made $300 to $400 a month after costs. Not much, but it meant I created value. My way. Amanda heard through friend. Her attitude changed. She called often. Sweet. Charlotte, come for dinner. Pot roast. I bought sweater. Come get it was too much. I knew why. I said no, politely. Sweet, but I go with group. Give sweater to your mom. Busy, but good. I told her about exhibitions, trips, busy days. No grudge, but no fake ties. Once you see clear, let go easy. I did not need approval. Wealth is freedom. No ties to guilt or duty. My work got notice. A photographer praised sunset on Main Street. Emotional, real. He got me in City Arts Festival. Honor. I picked 5 photos. Edited, printed, framed. Opening day, I wore a new coat. Badge on chest. Nervous and proud. Hall was busy. People stopped at my photos, whispered. Some took pictures. I saw Benjamin and Amanda. They looked at photos, then me. Surprise, regret. Amanda smiled bright. Charlotte, congrats. Incredible, professional. Her voice loud, tight. Benjamin clapped shoulder. Mom, no idea you this good. I nodded. Thank you. Inside.com. Irony, when no crave approval, they give. But means nothing. They wanted dinner to celebrate. We went Italian. Private room. Good food. Mood forced happy. Benjamin gave compliments. Amanda added food. Warm too much. I saw through their intentions. It wasn't just a celebration dinner. It was a setup. After several glasses of wine and multiple courses, Benjamin spoke casually. Mom, we've been looking at houses. I waited, knowing what was coming. He continued, our apartment is too small, especially if we start a family. We found a perfect place, but we're short on the down payment. Amanda leaned in, her voice eager. Since your photography is doing so well, with awards and sales, could you help us out? Her eyes were bright with expectation, barely hiding the urgency. It was the same old story, they wanted money. I smiled, finding it predictable. I put my fork down, dabbed my mouth with a napkin, and said, a new house sounds wonderful, but I'm afraid I can't help. Amanda's smile faded. Why not? She asked. I tapped my glass lightly and explained. Photography is expensive, new equipment, travel costs, and I've pooled funds with friends for a photography studio. It's a big investment. I paused, then added, plus, I'm planning a trip to Alaska to photograph the northern lights, and I've already set aside the money for it. Benjamin took a sip of his tea, avoiding my gaze. Amanda's face tightened, her frustration clear. It was interesting when you build your own world. Others find themselves knocking on a door that won't open. The dinner ended in tense silence. A few days later, Patricia, Amanda's mother, called me. Her voice was thick with praise, calling me an inspiration with hidden talents. She invited me over for tea to catch up. Curious about her intentions, I agreed to go. When I arrived, she greeted me like a celebrity. The table was filled with tea and imported pastries, and her compliments flowed endlessly. Robert, her husband, sat stiffly, offering awkward chuckles. After some small talk, Patricia leaned closer and lowered her voice. Charlotte, there's something I wanted to mention. My son, David, Amanda's brother, is working on an incredible project with huge potential. He just needs some startup capital. I smiled to myself. It was clear now. She saw me as a source of money. Thank you, Patricia, but I can't help, I said calmly. Why not? She pressed. I've partnered with friends to open a photography studio, I replied. I'm completely tapped out. Her face soured, but she forced a brittle smile, and the topic was dropped. People reveal their true selves when they think you have something they want. When you're struggling, they ignore you. When you shine, they rush to crown you. Meanwhile, my studio was up and running. We landed a contract with a travel company to shoot a promotional campaign for a Northern Lights tour in Alaska. When the contract was signed and the advance payment came through, the office erupted in joy. It was a dream coming true. I threw myself into preparations with excitement. researching weather patterns and upgrading my gear. When Benjamin heard I was going to Alaska for a month, he called immediately. "Mom, Alaska. For a whole month. At your age. It's freezing up there. Are you sure you can handle it?" His voice carried concern, but there was a sharpness beneath it. "I'm doing great," I assured him. "I'll be with my team, and we'll look out for each other." He pressed. "A whole month. You're the backbone of that studio. And the travel expenses must cost a fortune." His real worry was clear. He feared I was spending too much on myself. Cutting into the backup plan he kept in his back pocket. I sighed inwardly, but kept my tone cheerful. "Yes, it's expensive, but the travel agency is covering the costs. Tom and Linda will handle the studio while I'm away," he urged. "Maybe you should think about it more." I cut him off gently. "No need. The ticket is already booked." In my youth, I was tied down by bills and responsibilities I never questioned. Now, it was my turn. I wasn't going to miss another horizon. Benjamin fell silent. In our younger years, survival meant loans and obligations. But as I grew older, I learned that freedom is earned through effort and determination. Alaska was breathtaking. The auroras danced across the sky, spilling waves of light like an artist painting galaxies. Our small crew of veteran photographers hauled heavy gear through freezing nights, trudging over icy ground to capture every fleeting moment of color. It was exhausting and cold, but my heart felt alive with pure joy. The month-long shoot was a success, and our studio earned its first substantial paycheck. During the trip, I met someone who changed my life, Emily Sanchez. She was 2 years younger than me, a solo traveler also chasing the northern lights. We met by chance at a small outdoor market in a quiet Alaskan town. A conversation sparked, and we quickly realized we had much in common. Emily was a retired community college professor. Her husband had passed away, and her children lived in other states. She lived alone, vibrant and full of stories. We talked about photography and life, and by the second half of the trip, we were inseparable, taking photos of each other, sharing meals, and looking out for one another. There were no ulterior motives, just a simple, genuine friendship. At the end of the trip, Emily gave me a tight hug and said, "Charlotte, meeting you has been the best part of this adventure." Next stop, Iceland. The northern lights are even more spectacular there. I laughed without hesitation. "You're on." When I returned home, I looked at my growing bank balance, the hundreds of stunning photos on my hard drive, and the goofy selfies Emily and I had taken. A deep contentment settled in me. Life after 60 could be thrilling, especially when you stop wasting time on those who don't deserve you. Emily and I stayed in close touch, exchanging photos, sharing editing tips, and planning our Iceland adventure. My life was moving forward. But then, life threw me a "Charlotte, how have you been feeling? If you need anything, just say the word," she'd say, warmer than any daughter. But her eyes wandered, scanning my living room, lingering on shelves, desks, and drawers. Her questions were coated in honey but carried a sharp probe. "Your studio is doing so well, isn't it? What big projects are you working on? Emily lives alone too, right? Do you see her often? You know, Charlotte, it might be time to renovate this house." It'd look great with a modern touch. I knew exactly what she was doing. I smiled politely and gave her nothing. One afternoon, everything changed. I was recovering and moving slowly, so I took my time in the shower. When I came out, a towel over my shoulders, I passed by the study. The door was half open, and I saw Amanda at my desk, rifling through my papers with the focus of a thief. My heart pounded as I crept closer. She was holding my bank statements and insurance policies. The world seemed to tilt. A deep chill ran through me. She had waited until I was vulnerable, literally defenseless, to snoop through my private documents. Rage nearly overwhelmed me, but I stopped myself. Confronting her would give her the upper hand. I had to play smarter. I cleared my throat loudly from the hallway, my footsteps deliberate. I heard frantic shuffling as she shoved the papers back into the drawer and composed herself. When she emerged, she smiled. "Charlotte, all done." I didn't hear the water stop. I just peeked in while waiting. That fake smile. It wasn't strangers I had to fear, it was greed disguised as family. That night, I double-checked every lock on my windows and gathered all my important documents. The deed to the house, bank cards, insurance papers, and trust agreements. I locked them in a small safe I had installed months earlier. A few days later, Emily came over. We sat in the kitchen, sipping tea, the warmth of her company comforting me. Midway through our chat, she hesitated, fidgeting with her mug. "Charlotte, there's something I've been debating whether to tell you," she said. "Go on, Emily," I urged gently. "No secrets between us." She bit her lip and leaned closer. "A few days ago, a strange woman knocked on my door and asked a lot of questions about you, detailed ones about your health, income, children, and whether you're planning to remarry." A dread settled in my stomach. "What did she look like?" I asked quietly. Emily's description confirmed my suspicion. Had Amanda's fingerprints all over it? To be sure, I asked Tom, an ex-cop who worked at the studio, to do some digging. It didn't take long for the truth to surface. Amanda had hired a private investigator to check my finances and even look into my partner's lives. In that moment, any remaining hope I had crumbled. To them, I was a lottery ticket they hadn't yet cashed. After the initial wave of anger and anguish, I smiled. If they wanted to play a game, I'd set the rules. When Amanda was over next, I picked up the phone deliberately, speaking loudly enough for her to hear. "Mr. Miller, could you come by tomorrow afternoon? I'd like to discuss revising my will. The sooner, the better." I heard a glass fumble in the living room and smiled to myself. When family turns into scavengers, the best revenge is giving them sleepless nights. The next afternoon, Mr. Miller arrived, and coincidentally, Amanda showed up with a basket overflowing with fruit. Seeing the lawyer, her smile stiffened like a mask on the wrong face. I invited Mr. Miller to sit and, ensuring Amanda could hear, got straight to the point. "Mr. Miller," I said calmly, "I'd like to update my will. It's important to have everything in order before it's too late." I gave a theatrical sigh. Given my age and recent health scares, I think it's best to be clear. There's the house, my savings, and my shares in the studio. Amanda was peeling an apple with exaggerated care, but her ears were sharp. I continued, "I've thought carefully. I plan to leave half my estate to the Los Angeles Photographers Association to establish a fund for older photographers who, like me, are finding beauty and passion in their later years." The apple slipped from Amanda's grasp, hitting the floor with a dull thud. Her face went pale, her lips trembled, and her eyes were frantic. "Charlotte, you?" she stammered, unable to finish. I ignored her, discussing details with Mr. Miller as he nodded and took notes. When he left, Amanda stayed, frozen on the sofa, an empty shell of her usual cheer. "Are you serious?" she asked. Benjamin is your son. I looked at her calmly. I've thought it through, I said firmly. Money is just money. I'd rather it leave a meaningful legacy than become a bargaining chip for those who never truly cared. Her face contorted with bitterness, but she didn't argue. That night, I opened the feed from a hidden camera I had installed in Benjamin's house weeks earlier, aimed only at the living room. On the screen, Amanda and Benjamin were arguing heatedly. Amanda waved her arms, her voice shrill. Benjamin slumped, smoking one cigarette after another, his face a mask of despair. I watched in silence, feeling no triumph, just a deep sadness. The pain wasn't loneliness, it was realizing that even blood ties could turn into cold, transactional hostility. I knew the charade had to end. The next day, I called Benjamin, Amanda, Patricia, and Robert, inviting them to dinner the following weekend. Their voices were hesitant and guarded, but they agreed. On Saturday evening, we gathered at a quiet restaurant in a dimly lit private room. The tension was palpable. Patricia's eyes darted nervously. Amanda fussed with her fork, her hands trembling. Benjamin sat stiffly, his jaw tight. Robert maintained some composure, but unease flickered in his eyes. The dishes arrived untouched, the air thick like wet cement. I cleared my throat and said, I invited you here to clear the air. My eyes settled on Amanda and Patricia, and the room froze. I pulled a small voice recorder from my purse. Every breath at the table seemed to catch. I pressed play. The voices rang out clearly. Charlotte only gets a couple thousand a month in retirement. If she gets sick, we'll have to take care of her, and we just can't. Exactly. I told you we have to plan ahead. She's already a financial liability. Better to get her to sign over the house. Now, while she's clear-headed and her health isn't great, she might not last long. Each word landed like a slap. This was the art of surviving. Betrayal, choosing the exact moment to lay your cards on the table. The recording continued. No one spoke. Amanda's face was ashen, her hands shaking as she gripped the table. Patricia's eyes were wide, panic seeping from her. Benjamin stared at Amanda with disbelief and rage. Robert sighed, closing his eyes as the wreckage unfolded. The truth was out, and there was no going back. I stopped the recorder and looked around steadily. I captured this during my New Year's visit to your home, I said quietly. I came hoping for a family reunion. And instead, I heard this. I paused, letting the words sink in. I left, not because of a neighbor's emergency, but because my heart was frozen. Another pause. These past months, I've done a lot of thinking. Is a person's worth just a number in their bank account? Does a modest pension mean I deserve to be discarded or conspired against? I smiled with clear resolve. I realized my worth was never in anyone else's hands. And it's certainly not diminished by your contempt. I continued. I have officially updated and notarized my will. Every eye was fixed on me. Upon my passing, my house will be donated to the community's senior housing program to provide shelter for elderly residents in need. My savings will go toward my care, health, and travels to ensure I live my final years with freedom and dignity. The profits and assets from my photography studio will fund the Silver Dreams Fund through the Los Angeles Photographers Association to support other senior creators who refuse to fade away. The room was silent. Amanda's face was chalk. Patricia kept her head down, shamed. Benjamin's lips moved, but he closed his eyes, crushed by the weight. The silence shattered when Robert slammed his hand on the table. You two have gone too far, he said. his voice tight with rage and disappointment. "You've disgraced yourselves." He turned to me, his voice breaking, and bowed from his seat. "Charlotte, I am so sorry. I should have done more to stop this. Please forgive us." Benjamin broke, grabbing my hand and sobbing openly. "Mom, I'm so sorry. Please give me another chance." Amanda sat frozen, her head bowed, a lifeless statue of regret. I sat still, feeling no vengeance, only a deep, heart-wrenching sadness. The most fragile thing isn't glass, it's family love crushed by greed. I turned to Benjamin, my voice soft but firm. "Benjamin, don't cry." He looked up, tears streaming. "We are mother and son, our blood is inseparable," I said gently. "But from today, we live separate lives. I no longer require your love or respect. And I will not offer unconditional sacrifice either." My eyes swept the table, settling into a serene smile. "In fact, I have plans for next month: Iceland and Norway, chasing the aurora to capture the Arctic light and snow. My new life is just beginning." No one spoke. The dinner ended awkwardly in silence. Benjamin insisted on driving me home. He gripped the steering wheel tightly, opening his mouth several times but unable to speak. When we pulled up to my house, I reached for the door. He grabbed my arm. "Mom," his voice cracked. He threw open the car door and fell to his knees on the cold driveway. "Please, give me another chance." My heart twisted. This was the child I had raised. I stepped toward him slowly, my heart aching, and gently pulled him to his feet. "Benjamin," I said softly, placing a hand on his trembling shoulder, "we all make mistakes. What matters isn't the apology in a moment of regret. It's the lifelong accountability that follows." I patted his shoulder, my voice quiet and unwavering. I didn't say I forgave him, nor did I say I didn't. Some fractures, no matter how mended, are never the same. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. And family love shouldn't demand endless sacrifice. 1 year later, Emily, 2 friends from our photography group, and I embarked on a road trip across America. We photographed Native American culture in Santa Fe's quiet streets, the towering peaks of the Rocky Mountains, and the wild fireworks and raw humanity of Mardi Gras in New Orleans. My photography had improved tremendously. Through my lens, I captured not just landscapes but hearts, stories, and the weathered faces of everyday life. Our little studio flourished, taking on documentary projects and community exhibitions. My retired life was more intense, free, and fulfilling than any chapter before it. Sometimes, Benjamin would fly to whatever city I was exploring to spend a few days with me. There was more space between us now, but within that space was genuine respect. He no longer asked about money or hinted at inheritances. He listened to my travel stories, studied my photographs, and smiled at my adventures. As for Amanda, she vanished from my life after that dinner. I heard whispers that her marriage to Benjamin unraveled, filled with endless arguments and rumors of divorce. But that was their journey, not mine. I had moved on. Emily wrote an article about my story and sent it to a well-known magazine. Titled "From an Invisible Mother to an Infinite Sky," it caused a sensation. Hundreds of letters and messages poured in from people sharing their struggles, lost years, and hopeful new beginnings. The media began spotlighting senior independence, questioning how society could truly offer respect and freedom to its elders. I, a woman who had only wanted a quiet retirement, became a small symbol of resilience. I received letters from other seniors, asking how to rebuild their lives and love themselves. Again after being forgotten. I answered each one, saying, "It's never too late. Your life can begin again if you're willing." Now, sunlight streams through my window. A mug of hot tea sits by my hand, and the soft chatter of kindred spirits fills the air with laughter and light. My heart brims with excitement for the next adventure. Looking back, the pain, betrayals, and disappointments were merely stones on the path. They didn't stop me, they built the road beneath my feet. The final stretch of life isn't about waiting, it's about blossoming. My worth was never printed on a check. It lies in living fully, bravely, and brilliantly as myself. This is my answer to all those still walking this path.